Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform known as Nduna Wengombe. Today we have Mr. Nikolai from the Kamab Simbra group. Today we're going to be touching everything agriculture. Nikolai, how are you, my dear brother?
I'm very well, Mitchell. Very nice to talk to you.
It's always good to have you here. I still need to come make another visit to you guys' farm, but that'll be something in the future.
Yeah, you should definitely come.
Probably we can do some recordings in the crawl. But for now, Nikolai, let's touch on what I want to discuss today with you. It's all about stud farming. First, let's start off with Nikolai. What's the difference between a stud breeder and a normal cattle farmer? Where does the difference come in here? If you may answer that.
Yeah, well, there's most probably not a short answer, but I'll try to keep it short as possible. Right. Basically, a normal cattle farmer is out there to produce beef, either or more in the calf region, like the weaner producers, or the guys that finish off the steers for the slaughter market. So that's basically the cattle producers. But they have cows, and they need bulls to make these cows. And as we all know, us humans, cattle, all living organisms are made up of genetics. And so each time they put a cow to a bull, they make a mating decision, so to say. And that's basically where the stud breeder then comes in. The stud breeder has to breed better genetics for the future, so to say, and then make them available to the commercial producers, which are the normal cattle farmers. So basically the stud breeders are there to breed the bulls, mainly the bulls. It's also females, but it goes about mainly the bulls. And because the bulls have the biggest genetic impact on a herd. So stud breeders are not just breeding, they also have to do a lot of records and stuff. And then there's a whole lot of systems in place in order to make sure that in the end of the day, only the best gets sold as breeding stock. Mm-hmm. And then the commercial producers have a whole lot of information they can use to make their bull selection. And like a weaner producer will look at a bull totally different than a steer producer. Or it also depends what you want to do. Do you want to keep back your heifers or not? And or do you want to use the bull on heifers and cows, or just on heifers, or just on cows? So there's different production system, different requirements, and it's a job of the breeder, so to say, to select and breed these cattle, but also record that there is data available, genetic data available that the commercial guy can take a educated decision.
Then, Nikolai, when one wants to become a stud breeder, do you just wake up tomorrow morning and say, I'm stud breeding, or there's a process you need to follow, and there are probably some T&Cs that one needs to meet? So what are those T&Cs to say if I want to become a stud Simbra breeder such as yourself? What are those terms and conditions that I need to meet before I actually start producing?
Yeah, look, many people wake up and they do want to become a stud breeder, but then what we see is a lot of people start to stud breed, and then a lot of them stop again because they then realize it's a bit different. Because if you're just producing beef, you're just multiplying cattle, whereas if you start breeding, you're trying to multiply good genetics, but then you have to make very educated decisions in your mating decisions. You constantly have to educate yourself about what is important in the industry. You kind of always have to really be in touch with everything, but then also all the recording, all the paperwork gets too much for some people. And therefore they then don't last. But then you also have other guys, they wake up and they just want to show. So showing has its place in order to identify good stud cattle when it comes to visual appraisal and structural soundness and stuff. But showing cattle is not like showing horses or dogs. It's not just about prettiness. It's about functional efficiency, functional animals that have to produce on the field, money for the producer. So I think a lot of people that start breeding, they quickly realize it's not all sunshine and roses, and then they stop again. But I don't want to chase away people or whatever. I'm just saying, you as a stud breeder, you have a big responsibility because you're selling the genetics for the future of the whole industry. So you have to make educated decisions, but you also must educate the whole industry basically, so that they actually know what is the ways the industry moving towards, and what is important, what is not important. What I just as an example is Namibia used to slaughter only 5-year-old steers, and then the progressive farmers started to slaughter them already at 4 years, and then the next guys slaughtered them already at 3 years. Most of us now slaughter steers at 24 months, and even try to slaughter them earlier than that. So at the end of the day, we are a beef industry, and we have to compete against chicken and pork, and we always have to keep that in mind. But if you want to start to breed Simbra is actually one of the easier breeds to start. You can basically apply to become a stud breeder at the society, and then you will have to, of course, you need cattle. So there's different ways to start. Either you go out, that is a bit more capital intensive. Then you have to go to other established stud breeders and buy females. It is more capital intensive, but you will hit the ground running, so to say, because you immediately will have sellable bull calves. You will have animals that you could show. As I said, you will hit the ground running. You can start immediately. So it is more capital intensive, but you will be in the stud market much quicker. But then there's another way. Another way is the very long route. It's also capital intensive. You buy purebred Simmentals or purebred Brahmins and cross them with the opposite breed, and then you have a F1, and then you continue from there. That we love if people do that, because that will bring new genetics into the Simbra gene pool. But that is a very long way. Then another way is you can register your Simbra type commercial females. You can register them as a basis Simbra, and they then basically can produce F1 Simbras for you by using a registered Brahman Simmental or Simbra on them, on those basis cattle. So then you have a F1, and then the F1, though, you can't sell bulls, but then these F1 females can produce you the first F2 bull calf, which you can then also sell and or show.
All right. Then Nikolai, so explain this to me. So stud breeding is not just about breeding animals for the show, is what you said there. Most people would have this mindset that I'm a stud breeder, so I'm producing a bull or a ram or a Brahman bull or whatever breed, or a big boar to just take it to the show rings. So it's a different thing. Showing is just part of it. It's not the main objective for most stud breeders, is what you said. Isn't that so?
Yeah, I believe stud breeding is about your main objective is to produce genetics for the commercial market, so that the commercial production, that our whole beef production can go forward. So that is the main aim. But showing enables us, on the one hand, the very important part that the animals are structurally sound, that they have good capacity, that they have good walkability and stuff. So that gets compared in the show ring, and that is very important for functional efficiency, for cattle to function on the veld. As long as showing is done proper and the judges are looking for the commercial important attributes, showing is very much important for that side of breeding. But then also important is the record keeping, because at the end of the day is if you let me use a car as an example. If you just want to drive on tar, you're going to be fine by buying a Polo or a Golf or, one of these smaller cars, very efficient, very quick, and off you go. But so you do your research, what can the car do, etc., and off you go. But if you need a 4x4 because you're going on driving in the dunes or something, then you're going to also want information. Where is the 4x4 and how much power does he have, and etc. And that is the same with the commercial breeder. He identifies either a problem that he has or something that he wants to improve, or in general, he knows where he wants to go. So, and according to that, with that information, he will come and select his next bull, because his next bull is going to be the decision that impacts his production, his beef production, his beef operation for the next couple of years, depending on how long he uses the bull. But then that bull has also female offspring, and they are kept in the herd and stuff like that. So buying a bull for a commercial guy is an intense investment that has a very big impact. And therefore, the commercial and communal, for me, commercial communal is the same, because everybody's in the end of the day going to sell cattle. And so they need that information to make an educated decision.
Okay.
Rather than just a shot in the dark.
All right.
And that's where the EBVs and stuff come in, and that's where records are needed.
Yeah. So record keeping is very important in stud breeding. So Nikolai, now this is the burning question. We've been reading Farmers Weekly, Agri Forum. We are seeing bulls going for 1 million, 1.8 million. What's going on here? What makes them so special? I saw a Beefmaster go for 1 million earlier this year. I saw a Brahman this past weekend. And then I know the Bosmara last year, they got 1.8. So what's really going on here, Nikolai? Are people laundering money, or it's genetics that are speaking here? What is going on exactly? Maybe you can enlighten me.
I can try. These really high prices. Look, you have to have a very good plan to make that financially still makes sense. But I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense. It could make sense. I think a bull that we bred ourselves, Kamab Kookaburra.
Yeah.
So if Kookaburra was available back then as a young bull, and say no, somebody else bred him, and we would have bought him. I can now, but that is now in hindsight. See, beforehand, you have to have a lot of trust that will work out. But like this Brahman bull now, he is a proven stud sire. So there is calves on the ground. So I'm pretty sure whoever bought him, they saw the calves and were very much impressed with the calves. Then he is bred out of a cow that already bred 3 stud sires. So he comes from a very strong dam, which a very good ICP intercalf period. So she is a fertile cow. So there's already a lot of really good things going for the bull. And then plus that bull is also looking very good. I don't know now how his figures are or so, but so there is stuff that say that he's a very good bull. Whether or not he's now worth the million, I don't know. But that is, I guess, depending on how you do your calculation. If you do it just with, you want to sell his sons, then maybe the 1 million won't quite work out. But if that guy, for instance, has a good semen market and can sell a lot of semen off the bull, maybe for a premium price, so maybe that could help to rectify the million. But I think in the long run, I think what most probably the buyer is looking for is that genetic impact. For instance, now Kookaburra in our stud now, he's not just breeding very well himself, but continuously his daughters are now performing far better than the average cow. So the genetic impact that one bull had and has for a long time is so intense that I now very sure can say, if Kookaburra was a young bull and we would have had to buy him back then, we could have paid more than $1 million for him, and it would have made sense. Because we saw selling his sons for an incredible amount of money. His females are breeding outstanding calves, so he's going to come back from the dam side again. So for the whole stud, he has a very strong effect. So yeah, the only thing is, of course, is it's a very long-term investment. So whoever is ready to pay $1 million for bull, yeah, he has to be in it for the long run. He can't hope to turn around tomorrow and make the money back. That's for sure.
Good answer. So in other words, you're saying it's a long game, not a short game. You have to have foresight from the next 10 to 25 years from today. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you definitely. I think the whole stud industry is you have to be in it for the long run. I mean, we have all seen many people. They come in and they breed and they do well, and then 10 years later they sell out. So they're just in it for the short run, and some of them do well. I mean, they come in hot and then they sell out for really good money. But I think that kind of defeats the purpose of a stud breeder. I think the purpose of a stud breeder is to produce better commercial cattle for the commercial producer, because at the end of the day, the T-bone steak or fillet or whatever is what it's all about. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think there's sense in buying an expensive bull. Of course, you have to have the cash flow in order to do it, but in the long run, it can have the right effect. But you have to make an educated decision. If you just buy a random bull for that amount of money, yeah, congratulations, but we won't see you for long then.
Yeah, no, the bank will be calling you. Now, Nikolai, so what can we look forward to from you guys as the Kamab Simbra family? What are you guys putting out? When's the next production auction, the dates, if people want to get a hold of you, or if people want to come view animals, when's the next one coming up?
Well, our next event really is our Beef Info Day. So that's like a day here on the farm where we educate basically the general public. Anybody is welcome. Just give us a call beforehand so we have an idea of how many people come. It's the 3rd of May. It's on the farm. It's a whole day, and it's, as the name say, a beef information day. So it's about beef production. Each year we try to have this day, and it always has its own theme. This year's theme is in balance. So there will be topics how to balance. You need a stocking rate, but you still also have to look after your grazing. Imbalances, how do you balance the EBVs with what you see in front of you? So that will be stuff like that will be discussed. We have international speakers coming from America. We have speakers from Namibia, and then also speakers from South Africa. So I think that will be a very interesting day. And then, as always, we have our sale in September, and we each year have a sale in February and in September. So I think September will be quite nice again. There's some really nice bulls coming up for there. And then, of course, the Windhoek Show. Windhoek Show is always a highlight. It's always nice to compare each other's cattle. And I think it's always, very good to mingle with the people.
Then, Nikolai, quickly before we end, what would you say to encourage a person to farm Simbra? What is the Simbra sell line for you? What if you were made to stand in front of a crowd of 80,000 people? How would you sell the Simbra to them, the Simbra breed of cattle to them?
Well, for us, it's quite simple. We came from a commercial side, so we looked at it totally commercially, what makes sense. And for us, the Simbra was the answer. It's easy management. It's an adapted breed. We produce what the market wants. Doesn't matter what the weaners are wanted. They go premium prices. The steers are perfect. We slaughter our own steers 18 to 24 months, and they have more than enough weight. They do have the fat. We're aiming for A2 grade, but most of the time we're going to AB2. It always depends on the rainy season. So we do we produce what the market wants, but we also have the female that works in the country. I mean, Namibia has proven it over and over again. If you drive around, what do you see out there? It's usually a Simbra type female that's producing there. And easy management, I mean, you have one cow herd, you buy one breed, you put the bull in, and he will produce you the product you want. You can also cross them very well with other synthetic breeds. I always say you could really cross them well with Bonsmaras, for instance. I think they will complement each other quite well, and then you will still have a little bit of hybrid vigor. So yeah, no, I think it's the Simbra actually explains itself. It is what works in Namibia, and it is what the market wants. So I think it's like we always say, it's a complete all-rounder.
All right, Nikolai. Thanks very much once again for taking time to talk to me about the Simbra and also the stud breeding business. So we will be engaging in future. And like you said, farming is not a short game. It's not a short game type of business. It's a long game type of business, and one needs to have hindsight into the future. So thank you very much, Nikolai, for making time for me.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mitchell. Have a nice day.
Same to you. Bye.
Okay, bye.